All right, all right, all right. You are now rocking with the best, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to another exciting, exhilarating episode of the and new Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Katie Drummond. I am here with the four horsemen of the apocalypse. I got my man, Patrick No C Walker. I got my man, Josh Rodriguez. And, of course, Will Skywalker Steele. Gentlemen, we are going to jump right into it because we do not want to waste any time. We are dealing with the fallout from this weekend Survivor Series. And I think all in all, everybody was pretty excited about the things that happened in Survivor Series. Special shout out to Triple H because he is absolutely killing it with the storylines right now. And the storylines from Survivor Series obviously dovetailed into the first episode, the Monday Night Raw. We're recording on Tuesday, of course. So we got to see the aftermath of what happened with Survivor Series. Clearly, the biggest thing in Survivor Series was the OG bloodline versus the new bloodline, with the OGs adding on CM Punk thanks to Paul Wiseman Heyman. And that led to the events that kicked off Monday Night Raw, where we saw Seth Rollins confront CM Punk and tell him, I am not done with you. And CM Punk is like, I don't even think about you. And that led into a great, tremendous segment and a tremendous brawl that then turned into Sami Zayn defending Jey Uso, who was jumped backstage, ending up accusing Seth of being the jumper, and then they ended up in a one-on-one match. So that all kind of tied together until the end of the episode, where we saw Drew McIntyre return. And that pop, that reveal when he pulled back the hoodie after he attacked Sami Zayn after the match, led us to where we are now. So let's start with that conversation. No C, what are your thoughts on all of this? What are your thoughts on where Drew McIntyre fits in moving forward?
Well, first of all, I got to give a shout out to the Josh, because it's funny with what we do for a living, the other thing we do for a living. Josh, on our podcast, he made a statement that was referencing Mad Men, and not several hours later, CM Punk uses the exact same reference in talking to Seth Rollins when he said, I don't think of you at all. And if anyone's watched Mad Men, they know that's one of the greatest lines in the whole series. So shouts out to the Josh. He manifested one of the CM Punk lines. But as far as the Drew McIntyre return, I am all about that shit. We were sitting here talking when we did the live reaction in real time watching Survivor Series. Make sure you, ladies and gentlemen, go back on our YouTube channel and New Wrestling, check that out. It was just fantastic. It was fun. Shouts out to everybody who tagged in and watched with us. But we said during Survivor Series that we were wondering when Drew McIntyre was going to come back into the fold, and we thought it was more of a Royal Rumble type situation, maybe even Elimination Chamber. We don't know, but we certainly was not thinking Monday Night Raw after Survivor Series. So here we are, Drew McIntyre. And the thing I love about it, on top of how it happened, and we were all watching the episode and we were wondering, okay, well, who the hell did attack Jey? Because it didn't make sense that it was CM Punk. But then I'm thinking, well, maybe Seth is playing double agent, but Seth was really fucking convincing in that ring with Sami saying, whoa, hold on, bro. Hold on. I didn't do that shit. And then pinfall, get the fuck out of here. But Drew comes out in the same episode in which CM Punk made it clear that he's off the Drew shit for real. He's even off the Seth shit. He's off all the personal shit. He's all about business. He wants him a title. He wants gold. Told Seth, you don't have a belt anymore, so I don't give a fuck about you. So now we know for certain that Hell in the Cell match between Drew and CM Punk was the nail in that coffin, which is fantastic. Does this mean that Drew is aimed at Sami? I don't think that's the case. I think he's using Sami as a vehicle to get where he's headed, and I think where he's headed is Gunther, and I can't love it enough.
So let me interject really quickly, because one of the things that the scuttlebutt in the wrestling world has been is that, first of all, shout out to our guy Steele, who witnessed it and saw it in real time. Bronson Reed did hurt himself with that tsunami top of the cage.
Both
and the storyline that was going on yesterday with the attack was supposed to be Bronson Reed's storyline, and Drew wasn't coming back for another couple of weeks. But because Reed is now going to be out of action for a little bit, they injected Drew McIntyre into the thing, brought him back early so that he could be the villain in this narrative. But from everything that I'm reading, it was supposed to be Reed attacking Jey Uso and then going into that, and he was going to return to Raw and be the super villain. So still
fucking audible.
I appreciate that update, because for the life of me, and I understand the excitement of getting a guy like McIntyre back. It's Drew freaking McIntyre, man. He's money. He's going to make everything better. But I truly do believe this felt more of a Rumble situation. It made more sense for it to be Rumble. Yep. I'm trying to find where the sense is with Drew right now. So what I'm going to do is give the writers and Triple H and Drew the benefit of the doubt and sit back and let them cook and see how they audible with this, because this is Drew. I'm never not excited to see Drew. I just was like, okay, but now with KD saying that, I didn't know that happened, KD. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because of what just happened at Survivor Series with the feud, the Bloodline, OG Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0. It made way more sense for Bronson Reed to do that than Drew McIntyre. So that changes everything for me, because I was ready to come on here and say, I don't get it, but I'm going to sit back and let it cook. But now that makes sense that it wasn't an audible.
Yeah. It's definitely a pivot by the writers, and from everything that I understand is that it's CM Punk's writer. You know, every major star has a dedicated writer that does their storylines and works on, you know, they obviously work with the producers and work with everybody else, but that whole thing from Seth and CM Punk to begin with, and then the interference, from what I saw in just scanning the web, that was the brainchild of CM Punk's writer, was how all of that took off. So I don't know who did the pivot. I don't know who called that audible, but that's what I'm seeing is happening behind the scenes. So yeah, it was a very interesting thing. What are your thoughts on it, Josh?
Well, you like to see it. You like to see them be able to call an audible and be able to get Drew McIntyre basically back from across the country to come back and do this, right? To me, I hope it doesn't spoil what they had planned for him for the Royal Rumble, because to me, it was a clear indication that man returns at the Royal Rumble. It's a little too soon for my taste, but obviously, like you said, it's just Bronson Reed. Makes sense. I get it. But now I'm wondering, do they flip-flop it even more? Do they give Bronson Reed, hopefully he's able to come back at Royal Rumble, maybe. I have no idea the extent of his injury. But if he comes back, do they give him the spot they were going to give Drew McIntyre in the Royal Rumble, where he makes a surprise return? And to me, Drew McIntyre felt like one of the final two at the end of the Royal Rumble match. To me, that was going to be the surprise return. Everyone is somewhat expecting it, but he, to me, was a guy that was going to last until the last two at Royal Rumble. Right. Now, I'm curious, does that make Bronson Reed more valuable in a Royal Rumble? I don't know.
I like that thought process.
That's actually beautiful. That's a beautiful thought process. Everything that I've read is that there is concern that Bronson Reed broke his right ankle, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. It was first fear that he had hurt both of his ankles, and still called it. Like, I didn't even notice it when he came off the rope. He was like, that man's legs hit first. That's not supposed to happen, right? Because you're obviously more into the technical aspects of what you're supposed to be seeing with these executions. I'm a fanboy when I'm watching this shit. So you were able to catch that happened, but yeah, it does look like he did hurt his right ankle on that. So
never wave those arms fast enough. Didn't wave those arms
right.
fast
enough. He didn't pump up enough. He didn't have enough air. Absolutely. So that brings us to, obviously, we have more fallout from Survivor Series, because right around the corner is basically a pseudo PLE. We're just 2 weeks away from Saturday night's main event returning to the air. It's NBC, and we have a gluttony of important matches that are going to go on. Cody and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is pissed that he wasn't part of the PLE in Canada, in his home country of Canada. So he's going to be even more pissed off at what's going on. We have Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. We have the Women's U.S. Championship tournament coming to a conclusion. So we'll get to see who's going to be crowned with the new belt. And then we also now have Gunther versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor absolutely demolished Gunther in the match that he had with Dominic Mysterio last night on the show. And one of the things that, again, I've been doing my research, as our guy, pointed out, Antoine pointed out that I was doing during the live. I do my research, right?
I had to check that article.
Yeah, right. So one of the things that I learned is that NBC actually controls the dates of the Saturday night main event. And this is what they've done. They decided that they want the next Saturday night main event to be January 25th, 1 week before Royal Rumble. This pace is going to be absolutely insane. So you're going to have a SmackDown, a Saturday night main event, a Raw, a SmackDown, PLE Royal Rumble. That is going to be the most insane thing that we've seen in a
NBC
while, and I
tripping.
can't wait to see how they work these storylines
That's
over
gonna
that
be
2 week
crazy.
period. That's going to be absolutely
snap.
crazy.
That's diabolical by NBC.
That's
Yeah,
mean. Like,
Yep,
what-
exactly.
what are you
So
doing?
WWE is used to being the big dog. They dictate
Cancel your
everything, but
life that week.
their contract with NBC says NBC determines these dates, and they pick January 25th
Oh,
for whatever
boy.
reason. So that is going to be an insane
Oh boy.
8 days of action. It's just going to be monumental right there. So I'm
I-
looking forward to that. Go
Quickly,
ahead.
I feel like that. I feel like right now they're probably having to change up some plans or filibuster some plans because there's just no. That's a mini PLE, and depending how big it looks
exactly.
in 2 weeks, it could be viewed as like a PLE. To do
Yeah.
mini PLE, it's a PLE in back-to-back weekends. That's not great for the industry, but NBC is big brother in these boys right now.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, the contract size, and especially because remember, we're going to have all of the momentum from what they're doing with Netflix because Netflix
Yeah.
starts on January 6th.
Netflix,
So the month of January, what we're leading up
Crazy.
to is going to be an insane pace because
That
you know
is.
that they're bringing out old stars, they're bringing out Raw stars, SmackDown stars. Everybody is going to be involved in this Netflix launch for at least the first 2 weeks. So that's January 6th and January 13th. And then less than 2 weeks later, we're going to Saturday Night Main Event a week before Royal
Listen,
Rumble.
man, bring
It's
them all
going to
out.
be
Bring them all out.
madness.
Bring
Madness.
back Charlotte. Bring back Becky Lynch.
They're gonna
Bring them
have to.
all out.
I feel
Bring
like
them all
I
out.
feel like they're knocking at their door right now. Hey, y'all gonna be ready by the 25th?
Yeah, facts.
We need
Bring
you.
them all out. And the fact that January and Rumble specifically begins the road to WrestleMania, I've not seen a more explosive beginning to the road to WrestleMania than what we're about to see in January. That, like I said, that's
Ever.
diabolical
Ever.
in the history of history. This is
No.
gonna be crazy.
I love it.
Not
And
to
you
mention,
know
like-
why it's happening, right?
They're not treating this like Sunday Night Heat either.
No.
Like, this is going to be like actual big names
Yeah.
on the cards
Yeah.
for these. It's called Saturday Night Main Event. So
Yep.
yeah, it's not that they're not going to phone these in by any means.
Yeah, no,
I
Oscar,
have
they
a
knocking on
feeling-
your door too. Oscar, come on.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's not going to be that filler match. And like, I mean, it's NBC. I don't think they're going to do a filler match at all. I think it's just going to be banger after banger after banger. That makes the most sense to me. It's NBC. You know how many viewers you can have combined with Netflix?
Yeah, because
for
it's not
Raw?
just Peacock. It's like you said,
Right.
it's network TV.
Right. It's going to be insane. Absolutely insane.
You got to hit him with
One
the Seth
thing-
laugh after that. I know that's Josh's favorite thing.
One
that version
thing
of
we
Seth.
cannot look past was probably the biggest shock of Monday Night Raw, how they executed the New Day 10th anniversary.
Hold on, Katie.
Because
Don't
for-
you dare be sour.
Look, I say this all the time, right? Because I'm just getting back into
It's
it,
a
and
new
you know,
day. Yes,
I
indeed.
have a little bit of
Yes, it
leeway.
is.
I have watched video of the New Day from years past, and I've been disgusted at the minstrel show that they were, right?
That's
I'm
true.
not even going to fake that.
No,
I've just
no,
been
you're
kind
right.
of disgusted
Yeah, you're
with
right.
how they were a
You're right.
minstrel show. So I look at everything they do because it, like, I mean, I had to explain bootios to my 10-year-old yesterday, right?
So you,
'Cause he
so you're
admits-
not booty.
He had missed all of that. He was like, "Why are they dancing like that, Daddy?" I was like,
Yeah. Well, Big E.
There's nothing wrong with
you
that.
didn't want to see
You know,
Big
like,
E
I'm
then because
trying to-
Big E.
Yeah, you really didn't want to see Big E at peak
Woo!
Big E.
Peak Big
I
E was
promise you, I've seen the clips,
twerking.
and I was
Twerking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. So I had to explain all that to him, but he was really looking forward because he sees Big E on the preview shows on the PLEs, and he's like, you know, who is that? And he was really looking forward to seeing if he was going to get back. Like, and he is very, like, you know, skin focused kinfolk. He was very excited about the New Day and didn't want to see them break up. And he was distraught at how that thing played out yesterday. Like, that thing wrecked him. And I remember
Then it worked.
Yes.
And it worked.
I remember Josh talking about when Jey Uso won the belt and they showed that kid that he was so excited for Jey Uso, and it brought back memories of when he was a kid watching wrestling and how emotionally invested you are in these storylines. Triple H is fucking cooking right now. That beef between Xavier Woods and Kofi, and he was like, my kid was next to me like, oh no, like when he was like, but after he was like, you know, we thank the fans and, you know, it's been a great run, but and he was like, no, please don't do it. Please don't do it. And then Big E came out and he was to the moon. And they turned on Big E. Yeah. Like, what the hell are y'all doing? Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
That writing. Talk to me about it, fellas.
Listen, it's like I said in the Slack when it happened to you guys. Masterful fucking gambit by Triple H. Yeah. This buildup has been for months. They use Karrion Kross. They use every possible angle to pit Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston against each other. And on the 10-year anniversary, we're all thinking the same thing. This is where it happens. This is where the break happens. And it gets right, like Xavier said, they got right to the cliff and they were about to jump. And then what happens? Big E comes out. So now we're thinking, okay. The backup plan, which we were all thinking about, was that Big E might come save the day. So here we are. Big E is going to come save the day. But no, you now have Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, the New Day, for the first time in the history of their relationship, turning heel. And they didn't just turn heel, not against each other, against Big E, of all people. So it was symbolic that they were both wearing black and gray, right, to kind of give you the visual of what was about to happen. Yep. So now we get to witness a situation where going forward, the New Day is going to get heat from the crowd. That's something that's going to take some getting used to. But here's a prediction. It's like I told you, Katie, when you told me he told me he's in shambles, right? I was like, take it easy, young Thundercat. Let it play itself out. I think that either Big E has been medically cleared or he's damn close to being medically cleared. There was a comment that I think it was Xavier Woods might have said when he said, Xavier Woods, he said, you'll never be medically cleared. As soon as Xavier said that, I was like, oh, he's close. So I think Big E, this also sets up not only the New Day for a new exciting path to see if they can execute as heels at an elite level. I'm excited to see that. But it also tells me personally that Big E might be returning to the ring here soon. And that also excites me. And then it just goes to the writing. How do they reunite the New Day? Or are they going to actually make Big E put hands on Kofi and Xavier Woods? This can be fun no matter how you look at it, man.
I mean, for weeks we've seen Xavier Woods get to that level and bickering with Kofi Kingston. To me, the most surprising top 10 anime betrayal last week or this week was Kofi Kingston railing against Big E. To me, that was the surprise of the entire.
That was Goku going going at Vegeta. Yes. That was Goku finally snapping over Vegeta. Like, I'm tired of your shit, man.
Exactly. Top 10 anime betrayals was Kofi Kingston railing against Big E. That really shocked me. I felt a little underwhelmed ultimately with the end of the segment because I was like, okay, there are no real definite answers here. And I think I never really considered that it's a heel turn for both of them until Patrick said it just now. It just felt like there was no closure, obviously, right there, right?
Left the door open, yeah.
Well, they said we're all we got. So that tells you they're not breaking up the tandem. Right. And then they turned and both looked at the camera with that kind of sinister look, like that's the heel turn as a duo.
So that's surprising to me because they've been bickering for so long, and it's been Kofi
it took a common foe for them to realize how much they meant to each other, and the common foe. That blows my mind that it's Big E, but Big E is the common foe because they both said the same thing. You were not here for us. You could have come back. Stone Cold had a neck issue. Edge had a neck issue. They went down the list and they didn't have anybody to come back to, and they still came back. You had somebody to come back to, and you didn't. So the fact that they both hated Big E for not doing that, it galvanized them together. So now the fracture is healed, and now they're both bad guys.
But when you look at the bickering was because Kofi was just being okay with losing, and Woods was trying to get him mad. And he went all the way to the point of what has never been mentioned at all, which was you lost your belt to Brock Lesnar and didn't do shit about it. And that really got to Kofi Kingston. So Kofi's like, okay, that's it. That's enough for me and you. Then, like Pat said, Big E comes out and they start to realize, well, wait a minute, man. You want to be our manager right now. You could have been our manager for the last couple of months when all this shit was going down and trying to fix us. But here's what I found very interesting about this turn-ish, because it's quasi-turn, really.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't feel definite, but yeah.
I don't think it's full-blown. I think they'll teeter with it. They'll have fun with it.
I don't know. I think they go dark still.
Well, listen to what he said at the end. if we need you, we'll call you. So if it was full blown, we done with you, they would have never said that. This was more or less brothers arguing, upset at each other. You weren't here for me. We're good. See you whenever we need you type situation. So now Kofi and Woods can play up on that heel-ish, because I don't think they're gonna go full for like a year or whatever. I think, like you said, I think Big E is close.
Yeah,
it could potentially be maybe a Mania, or not a Mania, a Rumble situation, maybe a little after that, Elimination Chamber or something, and then they somehow get these guys back together. There is some money to be made to see all three of those guys fighting each other, but I feel like eventually those guys, you're going to get that pop. Big E's going to come back. We're going to get the hug, because if not, why would he say, we'll call you when we need you? And then number two, hold on before you go.
Okay, go ahead.
Remember, they came out, and this is the masterful writing part. They learned from their lesson. They learned their lesson from their mistake when they first introduced the New Day. The first time they introduced New Day, they were heel. They were that kind of annoying, pompous, they would talk trash to the crowd about the city, about the wrestlers, and it did not work. It was so bad that stale. They had to be over the top faces, and that worked for 10 years. They said
they almost got fired.
Right, they almost got fired. For 10 years, that worked. So I think they said, listen, we have to build this quasi turn much better than we did when they first came out, because it was terrible, KD. You go look at when they were introduced, it was awful, and they had to turn really fast to be a face.
I'll say this real quick.
Sorry, real quick. I saw that Big E said in an interview before this weekend that when New Day was forming, Xavier Woods' idea was that they were going to be the Nation of Domination, Rock's first faction. That's who they were going to model.
Not the way they came out,
and that was turned down by the WWE, who made them do, I guess, a gospel Southern type of.
Damn,
and that was how they
they had the choir in the Titantron. It was bad, bro.
Damn.
Okay.
I only say this to what Will is saying as far as the Xavier comment. I did catch that, but I took it a different way. I took it on some street shit. I took it on some shit where it's just like, he said, if we need you, we'll call you. And he said it with a particular tone and attitude that reminded me of someone looking at you and saying, if I wanted your opinion, I'll beat it out of you. That's kind of how I took it, right? Where it was supposed to be disrespectful. Not to say, yeah, we are going to call you, but it's to devalue you so much where it's just like, why are you even standing in front of me? Did I call you out here? Get your ass out of my ring. It's kind of like what it felt.
Told him to get out. I think they even
and told him to get out. He was like, get out of my ring.
Get out of the ring.
Like, get out of the ring. So that's how I took it. So it'll be interesting because you make a good point. It could be that, but I feel like it could be this. But the fun is going to be figuring out which one of those two things it is.
I think this is genius because they can teeter on both. They can, if it's not working out, if the Kofi and Woods heel turn is not working out, they can easily go back to. Yup, we need you, big fella. We need you, and everybody's good, kumbaya, and they go sell merchandise. Yeah, we fucked up. Or if it's so over, they can drag this Big E. They can make Big E, have a mystery partner or something crazy, right? Fucking bring back Dolph Ziggler or something. Yeah, I'm just kidding, but they could do.
I was gonna say Dolph is doing some good things.
But him and Dolph were a thing back in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
But they could even, like I said, I saw this on Twitter. Boy. Be crazy to see a triple threat match of the New Day just on a big stage. That would be that would be a money making must see TV type thing, bro. It would be crazy, but they could let it play out and see if that works. So this thing can go many different ways, and that's why I think it was genius how they did it.
Yeah, Josh, last word.
No, I mean, like I said, it was underwhelming for me ultimately, but I think a big part of it is the fact that Big E's probably not healthy enough to take any bumps or anything like that, because I was thinking like, what if like with the guise of Big E being hurt this whole time, what if they actually like beat on him? Like, what if they attack Big E in this moment? And like,
now that's a heel turn.
That would be that would have been shocking because it's like, is he okay? Is his neck all right? And like they're like actually beating him and like regress him, like they make him more injured and is healthy. Like
that would have took it over. That segment would have did dumb numbers.
I actually was hoping they hit him.
That's what I was going for.
I was hoping they hit him because for me it would have told me that he's medically cleared.
Yeah, and they would have
part too.
set back his injury, so
Yeah.
he would
Right,
come
and
back later.
kayfabe set back his injury.
Exactly.
But I would have
Right.
been pleased that he was able to take some physical hits.
Some bumps, right?
Yeah.
Something. Yeah,
But
that's what I
maybe
needed.
maybe
but-
that's in the future. I think the follow up is what you're looking for, Josh, because it was such a big cliffhanger in the sense that you felt underwhelmed. But I think how they follow this up is huge.
Yeah, I just feel like Batista. Like, just give it to me now, right?
Give me what I want.
Give me what I
Give me
want.
what I want.
On all of your socials and New Wrestling, except for Instagram and New Wrestling Pod, here on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. Make sure you smash that notification button, and most importantly, hit that like button if you like this content. We're going to be back next week with more of this, so make sure that you're tuning in. Salute.
And